I then had somebody who said, I think there's a space that you would fit into. You're not really, you're a bit all over the place, but I get what you're trying to do. So that person introduced me in the internet governance space, right? And the very first forum that I attended was the Forum on Internet Freedom in Africa, hosted by CIPESA in 2016, which is 6 years ago, in Uganda. And my goodness, my mind was just blown, because I had no idea that there was this word called the digital rights space, internet governance. There was so much to learn. And so from coming back from that meeting, I realized I had to be very intentional about the issues and the challenges that I had heard from there, the community that you can build, and the opportunities that are there to have support and resources and capacity to then articulate what the issues that you're grappling with are. And so 6 years later, it's a full circle moment, right? For all the capacity that I've received in terms of understanding what the issues are, the approaches to policy, the approaches to making headway in the issues that you're trying to do, to seeing my initiative on the CIPESA banner as one of the partners is a full circle moment, right? That shows you that conversations and convenings like these are very beneficial if you're very intentional and strategic about what you want to get out of them. And so through the years, it's been such a long journey wanting the Forum on Internet Freedom Africa to come to Zambia. We've been like, oh my gosh, we've been everywhere. We need everybody to come to Zambia, and I was so passionate. And that's why I want to Michael to speak to that, because he and I were always bothering the CIPESA organizers, please come to Zambia, please come to Zambia. And I think they just really got tired of us. But in the end, I think it's amazing that all of Africa and people from outside of Africa have gathered in this manner in Zambia. And I do hope that the Zambians that are here have heard some of the recommendations, the issues, the challenges, and hopefully you will find your space in how you can contribute to what's happening in this space. So now I'm going to put my moderator hat back on and ask Michael to just give a reflection. I know it's been a long journey of pushing and pushing and pushing, but finally here we are.
Your remaining hours or days in Zambia. Before that, if I welcomed you on Monday, you would still be held by sessions and this event, but after this event, I think you are free. You can do what you want to do. I can assure you, you are safe. So basically, my name's, or should I say my name is Elisha Michael. I work for the Zambia Police Service. I've been in the space a little bit of like maybe 8-9 years, somewhere there. In regards to CIPESA and the FIFA Africa Forum, they say a joke cracked twice becomes a statement. It was just out of curiosity, out of just a mere talk, having seen how other nations, of which most of you are citizens of, above all we Africans, were hosting and were progressive in their debates on issues surrounding the internet ecosystem. My background is law enforcement with a specialty in cybersecurity. So Martha and other Zambians, we sat down, we thought, why can't we at least bring some of these progressive debates, some of these progressive issues that are being discussed on the international scene back home? We lobbied, COVID came, we forgot about it. Then suddenly, here we are. Welcome to Zambia. So basically, my journey has been that of a learner who needs to find their own footing. Everywhere I went, all the fellowships I received, all the meetings I attended, including trainings, I happened to be the only law enforcement officer there. And I was asked, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? Your friends are out there and here you are. What are you doing here? They never knew the importance until they started discussing things that could not give them answers to. I've been part of this session. I've been part of FIFA Africa since 2016. 2017, 2018, 2019, at some point remotely. So basically, a lot of issues have been discussed here. Some of them contentious, some of them a little bit like we can take home and have answers on our own. But of course, some we've gone without answers. Where do you get your answers if you leave the law enforcers out of the discussions? We have issues of privacy, issues of surveillance, issues of cybercrime, issues of child online protection, issues of freedom of expression online, which if you discuss them on your own, you won't come up with answers, and you won't even know which area to counter to come up with answers. So through the multi-stakeholderism process of the internet ecosystem, this is where the law enforcers and all of us need to meet on a table. We discuss as equal partners. So basically, this forum has provided a platform in which you can bring up your issues without looking over your shoulders. There are some meetings you bring up such issues, you don't know what happens when you leave the meeting, because you might have said something that is against the will or against the powers that be. But here you are in Zambia, you are free, you are safe, you can discuss issues, you can bring up anything as long as you are within the limits of the law. So basically, let's encourage, as we go back home, let's encourage to engage the law enforcers back in your country. They're not your enemies. Bring them on board. The change we are seeking is not within us, it's among us. If you say it's within us, it's between me and him. But if it's among us, it's a community problem. So basically, all I want to say is thank you to Dr. Wakabi for having, and his team at CIPESA, for having brought this event to Zambia. A special thanks to Anuet there, who I call my mother, for having made it possible that at some point in the early stages of internet governance and the internet ecosystem, I was part of the African School Internet Governance. Beyond that, we've tried to bring in many people on board. I've engaged many law enforcement officers outside the borders of Zambia to be part of these events, because there should be the change that you and I are seeking. Beyond me being a police officer, I am a private citizen out there. So if I push the agenda for a law enforcement officer as my main agenda, what do I become when I leave the service or when I'm out there? I will still be the enemy of the things I was what? Pushing for. So beyond these meetings, beyond these deliberations, beyond these sessions, let's bring in each and every one of us on board. The space in the ecosystem is so huge that we wouldn't fit everyone. We need each and every one of us. So let's be one voice. Let's also speak one language without antagonizing one sector of society and demonizing them, thinking that they are not on their own in terms of implementation of the laws that are not created by them. Here we have parliamentarians who are part of this network now. What they may not know, or what they may not understand, is some of us fought so hard to bring the parliamentarians on the table. You may not know the history behind it, but at some point you will appreciate the little effort that we put at the UN Multi-Stakeholder Advisory Group, which I was part of from 2017 up to 2019. It was difficult to bring a conversation where politicians, as my sisters put it, who you discuss something in a meeting and there's no one to take home that voice. We came up with a deliberate policy to include them in the debates in 2019 when I was still serving, and here we are, we have a member of parliament, one or two or three here I've seen, who beyond this meeting will take the necessary steps to ensure that the voices that have been raised are taken to parliament, and probably we see a bit of some change in the law or any other legislation or statutory instrument that may come out. Otherwise, thank you and welcome to Zambia.
Thank you very much, Michael. And I will re-echo that. Please share the opportunities. Don't hoard information. Don't keep the space. Share the opportunities with as many people as you can to come into the space and build more capacity. Here for the very first time, like I was 6 years ago, what has been your experience with FIFAfrica in terms of building networks, experiencing the conversations, and what are you taking away from here?
Okay, thank you so much, Martha. It's interesting that it's my first time because I've been a part of CPESA's work at least a couple of years ago, and a part of writing one of the reports of which the recent one has just been launched. I encourage you to read that. But it is an absolute privilege for me to be a part of this 9th edition, especially given that it comes immediately after coronavirus, and I'm so impressed to see how well structured and how well put together it has been. Permit me, to start with just appreciation for Zambia. I really want to, please give a round of applause for Zambia. One Zambia, one nation. I really want to thank the great people of Zambia for bringing us together. Your hospitality is second to none. And if I may speak just a little bit for Africa, that we respect the forwardness in democratic principle governance and the work that you are putting through in terms of equity for the people of Zambia, which I think a lot of us will take back home to replicate across the continent. Thank you so much, Zambia. And in that light also, let me just acknowledge, and this is part of my reflections, I want to acknowledge those working behind the scenes. It is an incredibly difficult task to handle such a phenomenal event. Huge numbers of people, logistics, administration, operations. I just want to say well done to the invisible hands across email and guys, big up to you guys. You've done a phenomenal job. Being my first time, honestly, I am very humbled. Thank you, CPESA. You guys are phenomenal in the work you're doing. To our sponsors, honestly, thanks for your support. Thank you to NDI, SEMA, SIDE. Guys, you're fantastic. I want to acknowledge the Net Rights Coalition, as well as the African Digital Rights Network. A big shout out to Tony Roberts. These people have, made a lot of contributions to our comrades across the continent to advance the digital rights that we seek for our people. With that being said, and I'm going to be really, really quick as well, I know we need to have fun. Just a few things I'm taking back with me is that, and these are the big themes that I have seen across sessions, we as Africans have a right to be at decision-making tables. I'm going to repeat that. We're not asking to be there. We're not begging to be there. We have a right to be there, and we will be there whether you like it or not. That's one of the things that has come out. And the reason is we are the builders of organizing the internet, protecting women's and minority rights, which includes people with disabilities, LGBTQ people. Those conversations have to be hard. They're going to be hard conversations, but we will have them with respect. We will have them with love. We will show you that we can live together. This is why I like Zambia's motto, one Zambia, one nation. That is who we are. The next one is just sustaining action through ideology beyond our advocacy movements. We are movers and shakers when it comes to advocating for the issues that spring up here and there. But the ideology we must continue to sustain. This is one of the things that I took back. Also, the human-centered way that we need to work, applying our interventions to the work, even at the grassroots level. We are not going to forget the people in the rural areas. We're going to talk beyond internet and talk about digital access, even on simple mobile phones via interactive voice response. And we will use contemporary innovative methods to bridge the challenges that we have. We're going to be less academic about these things. We will break it down in our local language and make things work for our people. We will do what we do, not just in a what manner, but in a how manner. I am so pleased to see that we have our legislators in the House. We have government here. We have young people. This is so phenomenal that young people are in the room. I'm 43 years old. I am passing over the baton of making good trouble across the continent to the young ones that are here, because that is the legacy we want to leave. Nelson Mandela said, every single generation, it falls upon us to do what we can in our time and then pass the baton. I am no longer a youth. I started this when I was 13 years old. I'm not done, but I can no longer be front and center. And lastly, accountability. As we hold our... I'm trying to be very respectful. As we hold our leaders across stakeholder spectrum, as we hold their foot to the fire, please, we need to hold our own feet to the fire as civil society, as private sector, as academia, wherever we are. It is important that we are self-aware and accountable to ourselves, so that the equitable principles that we ask for, the democratic good governance principles that we demand because we deserve better, we are also practicing what we preach. Please, don't tell a parliamentarian not to do this when you are doing it. It no go work. So I think those are the things I've taken back, and I just want to say that, and this is not criticism, this is me being a vocal suggestion box. Please, thank you for the interpretation. C'était une très très bonne idée, mais on doit continuer à faire l'inclusion qui accepte tous les Africains de tous les parties de l'Afrique, soit francophones, soit anglophones, soit lusophones. C'est très 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 important. Sinon, on va déligner. Nous sommes comme, we're like, I'm trying to not confuse the interpreters, but we are like a football team. We have attackers, defenders, goalposts. If we alienate any of us, we will not win the match. This is a battle, and we will have to win many, many different matches so that we can win the war. Thank you so much to everybody. Thank you guys for bringing me a luta continua.
I mean, what do you say after that? What do you say? Class dismissed, right? So please, a round of applause as I release all of them to go back into your seat. Thank you so much. Thank you so, so much. And so just in closing, I would like to emphasize that our biker, Andrew Gole, is still on his digital initiative On the Wheels campaign. So he is still going to bike from here to Tanzania, Zanzibar, Kenya, and finally get back to Uganda. So please follow the journey back to Uganda online. I think Kathleen has done my job for me, so I really just want to thank all the sponsors, all the organizations that made it possible for us to meet in this manner. They are all beautifully listed on our banners. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I would also like to say thank you to all our exhibitors. The exhibitions were fun, they were so interactive, they were amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for exhibiting. And I would like to thank our local partners, the local Zambian partners that made it possible for us to run around and do all the logistics, the ministry for just being so open, so receptive, and being amongst us. Usually government officials come in with like a big delegation of media and journalists, right? And then the speech is done and then they all walk out, right? But you stayed for the conversations, you had reflections, and so that is really, 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 really amazing. We appreciate that so much. And thank you everyone for coming. Thank you so much for staying. I mean, I was thinking the closing ceremony, people will retire to their rooms. I saw some of you dancing yesterday. I've never seen such moves in my life. I saw some moves yesterday when people were dancing, but it was just so amazing to sit and look at all of you having fun, but also having so much productive conversations. I do hope that you enjoyed your stay in Zambia. I do hope that you will come back. I do hope that this forum has been fruitful for you. And lastly, I would like to thank CIPESA. The rate at which the CIPESA staff members run around and work and pay attention to detail without complaining and making sure that everybody is comfortable. You guys do it like no other person I've ever seen. The forum is one of my favorite events to attend. So thank you, CIPESA. Thank you to your team, Board of Directors, for the direction that you want the digital rights space and internet governance to take on the continent, and for pushing so much for ICT policy in East and Southern Africa, and for all the other partners that we have worked with before to co-host some of these forums. The Association for Progressive Communications, I've seen them here, the Media Foundation for West Africa, Paradigm Initiative, have all co-hosted the forum for us. I look forward to finding out the next country that we will be at for the next forum on internet freedom in Africa. If, like me, you're passionate about bringing the conversation to your country like I did and other team members, knock on that door until they respond, and we would love to come and experience your country. And so on that note, the meeting is closed. Go and have your drinks, go and have your fun, go and have your sleep, and I do hope you travel safely to your countries. Thank you.